When our freshman year of college had barely begun, my roommate, Kyo-Vun, was already desperate to become famous in the freshman group chat. She was the type of girl who acted innocent and delicate every second of the day, the kind of pick-me who could turn even breathing into a performance. One evening, she suddenly dropped a photo into the freshman group. "Oh no, I accidentally sent the picture my roommate took of me." The photo looked painfully staged. Her makeup was light and carefully blended, a single strand of hair deliberately pasted across the bridge of her nose for that effortless, natural beauty effect. She stared straight into the camera with wide, pitiful eyes, looking fragile in the most calculated way possible. Even the bed frame behind her had been edited so heavily that the metal bars looked warped and bent. A second later, more messages flooded in. It's been over 3 minutes already. I can't unsend it anymore. Please don't look. It's so embarrassing. I'm honestly just average looking. I can't believe people secretly call me the campus beauty queen. Even though I've studied ballet since childhood, weigh only 39 kilograms and have fair skin and long legs, I still don't deserve that title. Unfortunately for her, the freshmen in the group had no intention of feeding her ego. Someone immediately replied, "Who just took a dump in the group chat?" "Miss, you've been sending messages non-stop. None of them were over 3 minutes old. And literally nobody called you the campus beauty queen. Wake up before it's too late." That was Kyo-Vun in a nutshell. Nobody asked for her performance, but she insisted on putting on a show anyway. From the very first week of college, she spent all day flirting with boys in the freshman group. If a guy had even a slightly handsome profile picture, she transformed into the sweetest customer service representative alive, checking on them constantly, showering them with attention, calling herself Q Goddess. But when it came to girls, she became vicious. One day, a female student simply asked, "Does anyone know a cheap but good skincare brand? I'd really appreciate recommendations." Kyo-Vun immediately jumped in. "Cheap skincare? Aren't you scared of ruining your face? I only use SK2 facial treatment masks. You know those masks cost over 100 yuan each, right? Anything cheaper than that is basically garbage." The girl politely replied, "Thanks, I'm a broke student." Kyo-Vun instantly switched into fake sympathy mode. "Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't realize your financial situation was that difficult. That's my fault for being insensitive." Not long after, the girl quietly left the group chat. But Kyo-Vun still wasn't satisfied. "I was only trying to help. Now she left the group like I bullied her. Woo, woo, woo. Comfort me. Hug, hug." A surprising number of boys actually fell for it. They rushed to defend her, saying the other girl was overly sensitive. Some even privately messaged the girl to scold her and demand she apologize to Kyo-Vun. Rumor had it the poor girl cried while apologizing. Only then did Kyo-Vun finally send a cute emoji into the group, satisfied. At the time, I was also in that freshman chat. After reading her messages, I couldn't stay quiet anymore. "She asked for affordable skincare," I typed. "You mocked her for not being able to afford expensive products. Then after she left, you pretended to be the victim." Kyo-Vun fired back immediately. "Everyone saw it, right? I never attacked her." "You're defending her this hard. Did I hit a nerve? Or maybe you can't afford SK2 either." "Sorry. I thought these were products everyone used. I didn't realize most people here couldn't afford them." I stared at my screen in disbelief, rolled my eyes, and muted the chat entirely. At that moment, Kyo-Vun was lying on the top bunk above me, swinging one leg lazily while wearing a sheet mask. One slipper had fallen off, revealing a pair of blackened socks that clearly hadn't been changed in ages. A sour smell drifted through the room. "I'm just being honest," she said smugly while scrolling through her phone. "The guys in the group like me because I'm easy to get along with. Unlike you girls. School started days ago, and none of you even know any guys yet. I glanced toward the trash can and noticed the discarded mask package she had thrown away. Curious, I picked it up. It wasn't SK2 at all. After searching online, I discovered it was a cheap knockoff mask sold for 9.9 yuan per pack of 10. The three of us roommates exchanged looks simultaneously. Fake. That was the only word in our minds. After I embarrassed her in the group chat, Kyovun held a grudge against me. A few days later, she secretly uploaded photos of us right after waking up. Hair messy, clothes half changed, completely vulnerable. Oops, sent the wrong photo. I think my roommates hate me now. They're isolating me because I criticized their fashion. When she posted those messages, we happened to be eating in the cafeteria. One roommate shoved her phone toward us. Look at what that green tea girl just posted. When did she even take these? We were changing clothes. The group chat had already exploded with notifications. In the picture, I had just gotten out of bed, my hair a complete mess, turning around to change clothes. The angle was horrifying. Another inch and everything would have been exposed. My head went numb with rage. The other roommates looked just as furious. It was obvious Kyovun had intentionally waited until we were changing to take those photos. Although she deleted them after people called her out, countless students had already seen them. Comments flooded the chat. Wait, was that girl naked? Damn. Her figure's actually pretty good. She's kinda cute though. Kyo Goddess, was this a gift for us? Some people finally questioned her behavior. Posting photos of your roommates changing clothes is messed up. That's literally invading someone's privacy. But Kyovun simply replied, "Aw, I'm just clumsy. I didn't mean it. Besides, they bullied me first. And the girl you guys are complimenting? She isn't even pretty. She wears heavy makeup the moment she wakes up. And honestly, my body's way better. I did ballet since I was little. Obviously, I'd never post my own photos for you perverts to look at." I nearly exploded. I hadn't even washed my face yet, and she claimed I was wearing heavy makeup. The three of us stormed back to the dorm. We demanded an apology. Kyovun crossed her arms and sneered. With her body? Nobody even wants to look. I posted her picture to help her get male attention. I laughed coldly. Not everyone lives for male validation like you. You act like flies swarming around trash. Her face twisted instantly. She lunged toward me, but the other roommates grabbed her first, one pulling her waist, the other yanking her hair. I seized the chance and slapped her twice across the face. The dorm erupted into chaos. By the end, all four of us were scratched and bruised. Kyovun immediately called the academic advisor, crying first and accusing us of gang violence, because she had visible injuries from the slaps. While we only had claw marks and missing hair, the school forced both sides to apologize or face disciplinary action. We swallowed our anger for the time being. Meanwhile, Kyovun became even more unbearable. Not only was she fake online, she was filthy in real life. She ordered stinky tofu and snail noodles every single day, leaving greasy containers on other people's desks. Her worn socks were tossed beside clean underwear. One roommate even developed a fungal infection after living beside her. When confronted, she simply shrugged. If it stinks, throw it away yourselves. Why are you targeting me? Want me to post this in the group chat so everyone can judge you? Eventually, we were forced to install privacy curtains around our beds just to stop her from secretly photographing us again. But patience has limits. One night, the three of us quietly discussed how to finally teach Kyovun a lesson, and that was when I came up with a plan. A few days later, many new students joined the freshman group. Among them was someone named Cool Bro Fam, whose profile picture showed an attractive, rich-looking guy beside a Ferrari. "Hi, everyone," he wrote casually. "Does the university have parking spaces? My dad bought me a car during summer vacation. I told him not to, but he insisted." The group immediately mocked him for showing off. But Kyovun? She practically lit up. Freshmen aren't allowed to park on campus, she typed sweetly. But I can ask the academic advisor for you if you want. Or maybe add me privately? Famka, are you still there? She sent message after message. No reply. Back in the dorm, she slammed her phone onto the bed in frustration, while the rest of us silently struggled not to laugh. She immediately snapped at us. What are you laughing at? Oh, I get it. You girls secretly added him first and talked badly about me, didn't you? Then she pointed directly at me. Especially you, Fum Nin. Don't think I don't know your type. You think you're pretty enough to seduce rich guys? You better pray I don't catch you. I smiled coldly. Yes, I totally want a rich boyfriend. But what happens if everyone sees your real face? Will your goddess throne still survive then? Her expression darkened instantly. Minutes later, all three of us were kicked out of the freshman group chat. But what Kyo-Vun didn't know was that I had already created a backup account and secretly rejoined the group long ago. And soon enough, the performance of Kyo Goddess was about to come crashing down. The next morning, Kyo-Vun woke up in an unusually good mood. Ever since she had kicked the three of us out of the freshman group chat, she acted as though she had completely won the war. She hummed softly while sitting in front of her mirror, carefully curling the ends of her hair with a cheap, heated comb she bought online. The room smelled faintly of hairspray, instant noodles, and the sour scent of clothes that had not been washed properly for days. Meanwhile, the freshman group was becoming more chaotic by the hour. Using my backup account, I watched everything quietly from the shadows. Kyo-Vun had turned herself into the center of attention once again. Every day, she posted dramatic complaints about how toxic her roommates were. According to her version of the story, the three of us were jealous girls who hated her because she was prettier, more popular, and loved by the boys in the group. And somehow, an embarrassing number of people believed her, especially the boys. They comforted her endlessly. Don't cry, Kyo Goddess. Some girls are just jealous. You're too kind, that's why people bully you. Every time she saw those messages, she smiled proudly, her fingers flying across the keyboard as she replied with fake modesty. Aw, stop it, you guys. I'm really not that pretty. Actually, I think all girls are beautiful in their own way. The moment she sent those messages, she would immediately turn around and whisper insults under her breath. Ugly bitches. The hypocrisy was almost impressive. One evening after military training, Kyo-Vun returned to the dorm exhausted but excited. Her cheeks were flushed from the heat, yet she still rushed to grab her phone before even changing clothes. The moment she opened QQ, her eyes sparkled. Famka replied to me. She practically screamed the sentence. The three of us exchanged glances but stayed silent. Kyo-Vun quickly switched into her sweet, breathy voice while typing. Oh my God, you finally answered. I thought you ignored me. A few seconds later, the phone rang. She nearly jumped off the bed answering it. The voice from the speaker sounded distorted and overly deep, almost like someone intentionally lowering their tone. Kyo, baby. Sorry, I was busy driving. I just got home from the garage. Kyo-Vun instantly melted. It's okay. I know rich people are busy. The three of us sitting nearby almost choked, trying not to laugh. That voice sounded less like a rich young heir and more like a duck with a sore throat. But Kyo-Vun was completely enchanted. From that day onward, the two of them became inseparable online. Every night after military training, she would sit in the hallway whispering into her phone for hours. Sometimes she deliberately turned on speaker mode so we could hear. Kyo, baby, when can I finally see you? I want you sitting in the passenger seat of my Ferrari. Her face would immediately turn red with excitement. I want to meet you too. But military training made me tan. Wait until my skin gets fair again, okay? Then I'll let you see me." Meanwhile, the three of us inside the dorm made vomiting noises loud enough for the entire hallway to hear. Kyovun rolled her eyes at us and continued flirting shamelessly. A few days later, one of my roommates quietly showed me something on her phone. "Look at this." It was a screenshot Kyovun had been sending photos to Famka. Not her own photos, mine. Every picture was taken from my social media accounts. Some were heavily edited. Others were cropped carefully to hide the original source. I stared at the screen in silence for several seconds before laughing softly. "She's using my face to catfish him?" My roommate nodded awkwardly. "She probably thinks your photos look more rich girl than hers." Honestly, I almost admired the audacity. Kyovun had reached a point where lying came as naturally as breathing. Still, I didn't expose her immediately, because I was waiting. And soon, the perfect opportunity arrived. The final day of military training. Every department had to prepare performances for the closing ceremony. Singing, dancing, comedy acts, anything to entertain the students and teachers. I had been selected to perform a solo song on stage. Rarely did I wear makeup, but that evening I put on a light layer of foundation and tied my hair neatly behind my shoulders. The sunset painted the training field gold as hundreds of freshmen gathered in front of the stage. Backstage, I could already see Kyovun sitting in the crowd below. She had no idea I was about to perform, and she definitely had no idea what I planned to say. When my name was announced, I stepped onto the stage beneath the bright white lights. A wave of cheers rose from the audience. I smiled calmly and adjusted the microphone. "Hello, everyone," I said softly. "My name is Fung Nin, and today I want to dedicate this song to my dear roommates." I paused intentionally, including Kyovun. She's actually very famous in the freshman group chat. Everyone there calls her Kyo Goddess. The moment those words left my mouth, Kyovun's face turned completely white. Even from the stage, I could see the panic in her eyes. The audience, however, simply laughed casually, unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface. Then the music began. Under the lights, I sang calmly while countless students recorded videos on their phones. By the time I finished, thunderous applause echoed across the field. But I barely paid attention. The moment I stepped off stage, I immediately opened the freshman group chat using my backup account. And just as expected, the group had exploded. "Wait, the girl on stage is Fung Nin? Isn't Fung Nin supposed to be ugly? No way, she's actually pretty. She looks completely different from that awful photo Kyo Goddess posted before. Hold on, doesn't that mean the ugly picture wasn't Fung Nin at all? Oh my god. So the ugly girl was actually Kyovun herself?" The messages multiplied rapidly. Even cool bro Pham suddenly appeared after days of silence. "Kyo baby, that girl on stage is really your roommate? So who are you exactly? What do you actually look like?" This time, Kyovun completely disappeared from the chat. No replies, no fake crying, no cute emojis, nothing. And her silence only made the group even more suspicious. For months, many girls in the freshman chat had quietly endured her insults and manipulation. But now that cracks were finally appearing in her perfect image, everyone rushed forward at once. I knew she was fake from the start. She constantly edited other girls' photos to make them uglier. She bullied people non-stop. She's obsessed with pretending to be rich. She even mocked the real campus beauty queen every day. Turns out she was just jealous. The chat turned into complete chaos. Furious, Kyovun began kicking people out of the group one by one. But there were too many messages, too many accusations, too many screenshots resurfacing all at once. Eventually, even the group owner lost patience and removed her admin privileges entirely. The moment that happened, her entire online kingdom collapsed. After the ceremony ended, I reunited with my two roommates near the field entrance. Before we could even speak, Kyo-Vun came storming toward us. Her eyes were bloodshot with rage. "Fung-nin!" She grabbed my wrist violently. "Are you insane?" "You did this on purpose." I looked at her calmly. "Did what?" "I only sang a song." She shook with anger and raised her hand as if she wanted to slap me. But before she could move, I slowly lifted my phone. "You should check the group chat again." Her expression froze. Something in my voice made her hesitate. With trembling fingers, she reopened the chat, and the moment she saw the newest post, her entire face lost color. A link had just been shared in the freshman group. It led directly to the university's confession page, and at the very top sat a brand new anonymous post that was already gaining hundreds of reactions. The title alone was enough to make Kyo-Vun's hands tremble. "Living with a two-faced dorm mate is a nightmare." Below it was a long, brutally detailed confession. The post described a girl who never washed properly, stole her roommate's belongings, spread rumors about other girls out of jealousy, secretly photographed people while they changed clothes, and lived entirely inside a fantasy world she created online. It even mentioned that one roommate had developed a fungal infection after living with her. And although the post never directly used Kyo-Vun's full name, it repeatedly referenced a certain goddess from this year's freshman group chat. Attached beneath the confession were several blurry but recognizable photos: her stained pillow, her pile of filthy socks, her greasy bedsheets, and worst of all, a side-by-side comparison of her heavily edited selfies versus her real appearance. The comments underneath were merciless. So it really was her. She mocked everyone else while living like this? She called other girls ugly? No wonder her roommates hated her. I would have transferred dorms immediately. Disgusting. Kyo-Vun's lips began shaking uncontrollably. Her breathing grew uneven as she scrolled faster and faster, desperately searching for someone to defend her. But the boys who once worshipped her were now the cruelest of all. So the goddess was fake? She catfished everyone? She used filters this heavily? Even her rich girl personality was fake? One comment hit especially hard. She acted like a princess while her pillow looked like biological warfare. The moment she read that line, Kyo-Vun finally broke. "They're lying," her voice cracked. "They're all lying." Then suddenly, she screamed. A sharp, hysterical sound echoed across the dorm hallway. She began frantically typing into the group chat, trying to defend herself, but nobody listened anymore. Every explanation she gave only triggered more ridicule. "That's not my pillow. Those pictures are edited. My roommates are jealous of me. Fung-nin planned all this." But by now, nobody cared. Once public opinion turned against her, it turned viciously. And Kyo-Vun, who had spent months weaponizing rumors against others, was finally experiencing what it felt like to stand on the receiving end. She burst into tears, real tears this time, not the fake woo-woo-woo kind she used online. Mascara smeared beneath her eyes as she leaned against the wall, shaking violently. The three of us watched silently for several seconds. Finally, one of my roommates spoke first. "If you apologize now," she said quietly, "we can end this here. We'll stop posting anything else. You can leave the group chat and we'll just live separately. For once, just admit what you did." For a brief moment, I genuinely thought Kyo-Vun might finally break down and apologize. But instead, she suddenly glared at us with pure hatred. "Why should I apologize? I didn't do anything wrong. You're all just jealous of me. Jealous because I'm popular. Jealous because boys like me. I don't need that stupid freshman group anyway. Someone like me can survive anywhere." Then she shoved past us and stormed away. Unfortunately for her, the moment she exited the building, she slammed directly into someone outside. A boy with dyed yellow hair and acne-covered cheeks grabbed her arm before she could walk away. "You finally showed up." His voice was furious. It took me several seconds to recognize him. Then realization hit all three of us at once. Famka. Or rather, the real, cool bro Fam. Except he looked nothing like the rich, athletic Ferrari-driving heir from the photos. He was short, overweight, sweaty, and wore fake designer clothes that looked painfully cheap up close. Kyo-won stared at him in horror. "You..." The boy pointed at her furiously. "You've been dating me online this whole time, right? You lied to me. You said you were a rich, beautiful ballerina. Give me my money back. The VIP membership. The milk tea. The gifts. All of it. 687 yuan total." Students nearby immediately slowed down to watch the drama. Kyo-won's embarrassment quickly turned into rage. "Oh, please," she snapped back. "What about you? You used fake photos too. That Ferrari wasn't yours either. You said you were 1.88 meters tall and a sports major. You lied first." The two of them began screaming at each other in the middle of campus. People gathered rapidly. Phones came out instantly. Someone was already recording. "You catfished me. You catfished me. You ugly scammer. You fake rich loser." The argument escalated so badly that security guards had to step in before it turned physical. Eventually, both of them were dragged to the academic advisor's office while dozens of students whispered excitedly nearby. The three of us stood there speechless. Finally, one roommate turned toward me carefully. "Wait, you didn't hire that guy?" I nearly laughed. "Of course not. All I did was post the freshman group link on the school forum. He joined by himself." Honestly, that was the funniest part. Kyo-won had spent so long creating fake identities online that she ended up falling for another liar just like herself. In the end, both of them received disciplinary warnings from the university. Not long afterward, someone uploaded stories about Kyo-won's hygiene and online behavior onto social media platforms. The topic spread surprisingly fast among students. To calm the situation, the school finally approved our request to switch dormitories. And just like that, our nightmare roommate disappeared from our lives, at least temporarily. But Kyo-won never really changed. Even after transferring dorms, rumors about her continued spreading across campus. People said she still manipulated others, talked behind everyone's backs, and bounced between online relationships searching for wealthy boyfriends. No girls wanted to be friends with her anymore. And because of the scandal, her name became infamous among freshmen. Some people even created discussion threads dedicated entirely to her drama. Later, we heard more stories about her past. Apparently, she had behaved this way since middle school. Her family situation wasn't good. She had been raised mostly by her grandparents while her parents only sent minimal living expenses. Her grandparents reportedly borrowed money just to afford her university tuition. But instead of becoming humble, Kyo-won developed an obsession with pretending to be rich and admired. She constantly targeted girls from wealthier families, accusing them of making money dishonestly. Meanwhile, she aggressively chased after boys who seemed wealthy. One former classmate allegedly suffered severe emotional trauma after enduring years of rumors and manipulation from her. Another rumor claimed Kyo-won later tricked an online boyfriend into traveling across provinces just to meet her. When he discovered she had lied about everything, he caused such a massive scene that the police were called. In the end, her elderly grandfather reportedly had to travel for days just to repay the money she owed. Not long after that, Kyo-won was expelled from school, and from then on, we never saw her again. Years passed quickly after graduation. The drama eventually faded into nothing more than an absurd college memory, until one random evening years later, while scrolling online, I suddenly froze mid-video. A familiar face appeared during a live stream. The girl sat in front of a camera buried beneath aggressive beauty filters. Behind her hung colorful LED lights and a cheap streamer backdrop. At first glance, I almost didn't recognize her. But then she spoke. Oh my God, that influencer's nose is huge. And her lips are so thick. She looks unfinished. And she wants to be famous? If I looked like that, I'd never show my face online. The moment I heard that arrogant, mocking tone, I knew instantly. It was Kyo Vun. Even after all these years, she still hadn't changed. She mocked female streamers nonstop, tearing apart their appearances for attention. Yet the moment male viewers sent expensive virtual gifts, her entire personality transformed instantly. Aw, thank you, handsome. You're so masculine. Message me privately later, okay? I occasionally stumbled across her live streams afterward. Barely 100 viewers. Most of her content revolved around insulting famous female influencers to gain attention. Then one day, her account suddenly vanished, completely banned. Later, rumors spread that a celebrity's management company had sued her for defamation after months of malicious comments and edited videos. Apparently, the compensation amount was enormous. After that, Kyo Vun disappeared from the internet entirely. No more live streams, no more fake goddess act, no more drama. Sometimes, during class reunions, my old roommates and I still bring her up as a joke from our college years. But nobody truly cares anymore. Because in the end, people like Kyo Vun always destroy themselves eventually. And no amount of filters, lies, or fake admiration can save someone forever once the truth finally catches up to them. Thank you for listening to today's story. I truly appreciate every comment, thought, and reaction from all of you. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Several years after graduation, I thought the story of Kyo Vun had already ended. To me, she had become nothing more than one of those ridiculous college memories people laugh about during reunions. An embarrassing chapter we were all relieved to leave behind. But sometimes, certain people never really disappear. One winter evening, while I was working overtime in my apartment, my phone suddenly buzzed non-stop inside the old college roommates group chat. A message from Teo Ha popped up first. Guys, I think I just saw Kyo Vun again. Right below it was a screenshot. At first, I didn't recognize the woman in the photo. Heavy makeup, artificially enlarged eyes, a sharp V-shaped jawline created by filters. Her entire face looked unnaturally smooth beneath layers of beauty effects. But those eyes, that smug expression, I recognized them instantly. It was Kyo Vun. The screenshot came from a live stream platform. Her account name had changed 3 times already, but the content remained exactly the same. She sat beneath bright ring lights wearing a low-cut dress while criticizing female influencers for attention. This girl's face is obviously fake. Her nose is collapsing already. Honestly, if I looked like her, I'd stay home forever. Then, seconds later, when male viewers donated expensive virtual gifts, her voice transformed immediately into syrupy sweetness. Oh my God, thank you, handsome. You're so generous. You must be really successful in real life. Nothing had changed. Not even a little. The only difference was that now the internet had become her entire world. Teo Ha sent another message. She's getting exposed again. Curious, I clicked into the live stream replay. The chat was chaos. Apparently, Kyo Vun had spent weeks attacking a fairly popular female beauty creator online, constantly mocking her appearance and accusing her of plastic surgery. But this time, she had chosen the wrong target. The influencer's management company collected months of clips, screenshots, and edited videos as evidence before publicly filing a lawsuit against her for defamation. And the internet turned on Kyo Vun almost overnight. People dug through her old accounts. Old classmates began recognizing her. Even fragments of the freshman group scandal from years ago resurfaced online. Someone reposted photos of her edited selfies beside the original, unfiltered versions. Others shared stories anonymously about her behavior in college dormitories. The comments were ruthless. So she's been like this for years? She built an entire personality out of hating prettier women. This girl seriously needs therapy. I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. That was the key word. Because the more people uncovered about Kyo Vun, the clearer it became that she had spent most of her life hurting others simply to feel important. And eventually, the internet stopped finding her entertaining. People just found her sad. A few days later, her account vanished completely. Again. No live streams, no posts, no updates. This time, though, she didn't return. Weeks passed quietly. Then one afternoon, while I was having lunch with my former roommates, Teo Ha suddenly lowered her voice and said, "I heard something about Kyo Vun." The restaurant around us buzzed softly with conversation and clinking dishes, but our table fell silent instantly. "What happened?" I asked. Teo Ha hesitated before answering. "My cousin works near the train station. She said she saw Kyo Vun there a few days ago." Apparently, Kyo Vun looked completely different now. No filters, no makeup, no expensive-looking outfits. Just a thin girl standing beside the station entrance arguing with someone over the phone while carrying 2 oversized bags. According to Teo Ha's cousin, she looked exhausted, older than her age, like someone who hadn't slept properly in a very long time. And for some reason, hearing that made my chest tighten unexpectedly. Not because I pitied her completely, but because I suddenly remembered the first day we met her. Back then, Kyo Vun was just another nervous freshman dragging luggage into a tiny dorm room. If things had been different, if she had learned how to value herself without attention from strangers, if she hadn't spent her entire life competing with every woman around her, maybe everything could have turned out differently. But people eventually become trapped inside the characters they create. Kyo Vun spent so many years pretending to be someone else that she lost the ability to be a real person at all. Later that night, after returning home, I stood by the window watching rain slide slowly down the glass. Then my phone vibrated again. Another message from Teo Ha. This time, it was only one sentence. She apparently went back to her hometown. I stared at the message quietly for a while. Then I locked my screen. Outside, the city lights blurred softly beneath the rain. And somewhere far away, the girl once known as Q Goddess had probably disappeared into an ordinary life where nobody knew her name anymore. No followers, no admirers, no fake popularity, just reality. Maybe that was punishment enough. Or maybe, for someone like Kyo Vun, being forgotten was the one thing she feared most all along. Months passed after that message. Life moved on the way it always does. Work deadlines piled up, friends got married, some moved to different cities. The old dormitory drama gradually faded deeper into memory, until entire weeks passed without me thinking about Kyo Vun at all. Then one evening, during a small college reunion dinner, her name unexpectedly surfaced again. We had gathered at a noisy barbecue restaurant near campus. Smoke drifted through the air while beer bottles clinked across crowded tables. Everyone was laughing about old memories from freshman year when one former classmate suddenly asked, "Do you guys remember Kyo Vun?" The atmosphere changed instantly. A few people exchanged awkward looks. Someone laughed nervously. "Oh God, that girl." Another classmate lowered his voice dramatically. "I actually met her once after graduation." That caught everyone's attention immediately. "What happened?" The guy leaned back in his chair and sighed. "She was working at a live stream company. Not as a famous streamer or anything. More like one of those small-time online hosts trying to attract viewers. Apparently, after leaving school, Kyo-Vun bounced between countless jobs: receptionist, cosmetics sales, online shop assistant, short-term live stream agencies. But no matter where she went, the same problems followed her. She constantly argued with coworkers, spread rumors behind people's backs, and obsessed over competing with other women around her. At first, some people liked her, the classmate continued. She could actually be charming when she wanted to. But after a while, everyone got exhausted. She always needed attention. If another girl received praise, Kyo-Vun would immediately start criticizing her appearance. If a male coworker ignored her, she'd act hurt and tell everyone he bullied her. Someone at the table muttered quietly. She never changed. The classmate nodded. The live stream company eventually fired her. Too much drama. Apparently, even during live streams, Kyo-Vun still relied on the same old tactics she used back in college. Pretend to be innocent, flirt with male viewer, tear down prettier women, create fake scandals for attention. For a while, it worked. Small audiences gathered around the chaos she created. But audiences online are crueler than college students. The moment people realized her personality was genuinely toxic rather than entertaining, they lost interest quickly. She tried rebranding herself several times, the classmate added. Cute innocent girl, luxury influencer, relationship advisor, victim blogger. Nothing lasted. And honestly, she looked tired. That sentence lingered in my mind strangely. Tired. Not angry, not arrogant, just tired. Later that night, after dinner ended, I walked alone through the old university campus. The air smelled faintly of grass and summer rain. Everything looked smaller than I remembered. The dorm buildings, the basketball court, even the freshman training field where we once spent entire afternoons standing beneath the burning sun. As I passed the old dormitory area, I suddenly remembered something I had completely forgotten for years. The first night Kyo-Vun moved into our room. Back then, before all the lies and drama began, she had actually seemed shy. I still remembered her sitting quietly on the lower bunk while unpacking worn-out clothes from an old suitcase. She smiled nervously whenever someone spoke to her. At the time, none of us disliked her. Not yet. Maybe that was the saddest part of everything. Nobody is born becoming a person like Kyo-Vun. Somewhere along the way, she learned that attention mattered more than sincerity, that admiration mattered more than kindness, that being envied felt better than being loved honestly. And eventually, she became addicted to pretending to be rich, pretending to be desired, pretending to be superior, pretending for so long that reality itself became unbearable. I stopped walking near the dorm entrance and looked up toward the dark windows above. Somewhere in those rooms, new freshmen were probably laughing together right now, creating friendships and memories that would follow them for years. And suddenly, I felt strangely grateful. Grateful that despite all the chaos back then, the three of us roommates had protected each other. Grateful that we never became bitter people ourselves. Because living beside someone consumed by insecurity can slowly poison everyone around them if you aren't careful. My phone buzzed softly in my pocket. A new message from the roommates group chat. Tio Ha had sent an old photo from freshman year. The three of us stood together in military uniforms beneath the sunset, sweaty and exhausted, but laughing genuinely. And in the far corner of the image, almost accidentally captured in the background, Kyo-Vun stood alone holding her phone. Even in that blurry photo, she wasn't looking at the camera. She was staring at other people instead, comparing, measuring, wanting. I looked at the picture for a long time before quietly locking my screen again. Some people spend their entire lives searching desperately for validation from strangers. But the cruel truth is, no amount of attention can ever fill the emptiness inside someone who doesn't know how to love themselves. And maybe that was the real tragedy of Kyo-Vun all along.